What is good, YouTube? Welcome back to another reaction video, and here we got for you guys today Jordan Fringe, my fault. This iCarly episode was a little dark. Now, you guys don't probably see this, but before we start this video, you can see on the screen is that you got Nora, and you got that, when she had that little party going on, like, for the first time, and she had like a bunch of people she didn't know because iCarly helped them, get to all these people going, coming to her party, because I don't think she ever had any friends before, or just anybody that's ever showed up to her party. So yes, that episode was dark if you think about it, especially towards the end when when she kidnapped them, and they didn't know it yet until she actually had to explain it to them. So that part was hilarious. But um, I'm trying to remember if there was like a darker episode before that, like before that episode was released. I'm not so sure though. Yeah. Mm-mm. Or maybe there was a darker episode. Maybe there was a dark episode. It just wasn't as dark as this one. But nonetheless, let's just get into this video, man.
So excited! I can just calm down. It's okay. No need to vomit.
iCarly is no stranger to having some interesting episodes, but there is one that stands out when I think about the show. So as we get ready for Paramount Plus's revival of iCarly, which we will be covering here on the channel once it comes out, I figured we would take a look more.
Hey, they get it on season 3 now. They're on season 3 now. The show is doing phenomenal because they on season 3, and now they about to release on Zoe 101, season 1 on Paramount. I wonder how that's gonna go, because it's gonna be more adultish, just like this new iCarly reboot. We'll see how that turns out, because that's gonna be interesting. For them to do a reboot after all these years, will people even want to see that? I mean, the kid version was so iconic. I don't know if it could top. I don't know if it could be on the same wavelength, but you can try.
Into iCarly. I've recently been rewatching the original show. I also just made an essay video on the series about its perfect timing from when it originally came out. Check out that video if you haven't. It was one of my favorites to put together. But in doing the rewatch and seeing these episodes again, I really wanted to talk about the time that the iCarly crew were essentially kidnapped by a crazed, obsessive fan, and why looking back on this episode was a bit dark. Quickly here at the start, I just want to say thank you for all of the support recently. I am truly appreciative of all of you, and all I ask is for you to drop a like on the video, as it really helps the video out, and also that I hope—
Know what? Jordan, just for you. There we go. Like right there, man. Just for you, man.
you enjoy.
Let's
So
go.
the episode that we're talking about today is I, Psycho, and right off the bat you can tell that this is going to be a rather intriguing episode for sure. Maybe it'll be—
Hey, I'm sorry for pausing so much, but he needs to do a video on part 2, because that was crazy. Oh man, I think that one was the best one. That one tops over this episode for sure. I don't know if it was called I Psycho again or I Crazy or anything like that, but that one tops this one for sure.
about Neville. He's a little psycho, right? Nah. Instead, we're gonna focus on a brand new character so increasingly evil it would eventually cause Neville to help out Sam in the Sam and Cat Spin-off show. But here it is, I guess, the supervillain origin of Nora. This episode spends the beginning half of its double-length runtime building up the awkwardness of Nora, a fan of iCarly who reaches out to them about no one attending her birthday party, and in hopes that since the iCarly crew is going to a convention called Webicon, and that her house is 15 minutes away from the event, that they might have time to make a surprise visit to her. So, of course, thanks to Carly's good-spirited nature, drags the gang along to Nora's house, and which doing so shows that Nora and her 87-year-old clown are the only ones there. In a later two-part special, we would actually get to meet said parents who are just as, if not more, weirder than Nora. The pair doesn't fall far from the pear pad. Cut to a little bit later of awkward chit-chat and creepy dancing, the clown has an aneurysm and is taken away in a stretcher. This leaves Nora, a giant wreck, crying profusely and vomiting in the fireplace, as most do. To get her spirits up and give her a party with the people she invited to her school, Carly comes up with the plan to host an impromptu iCarly episode inside of Nora's house. Doing this brings a bunch of students Nora goes to school with to the party, giving her that popular moment she has dreamt of, albeit it's superficial. And here is where the episode, while starting off weird, starts turning a bit dark. I also can't stress this enough, dark doesn't necessarily mean scary. Darker themes don't have to relate to scaring you, but at the same time it also very much can, so please keep that in mind when I make these episodes, that they aren't always going to relate to something being scary as the main factor. Once all the party guests leave the house and it's just Nora and the iCarly crew, they for some reason can't find their luggage they brought, so they can leave and head to the convention. Nora says she hid it away downstairs so the guests wouldn't mess with it. They all follow her downstairs, wherein which Nora's father...
See, this would be me in this situation if I was going to a random person's house because, you know, they was a fan of me, right? Which I probably wouldn't do, you know, real life terms. I probably wouldn't do that. But at the time, I was like, why would they do that? Because, you know, like I obviously I knew it was a show, but at the time, I'm like, why would they go to the, why would they even take a chance, right? No matter if they was close enough from the event or not. So this is me, right? My luggage. She puts it like, she doesn't even tell you that she's gonna put it in the basement. She just does it. So as soon as she said, "Oh yeah, I put it in the basement," come on, and didn't even tell me beforehand that she was gonna do that. She was gonna eventually do that. I would have asked the first. I would have been the first one to ask, "Where do we put our luggage?" Okay, I know it's in the basement. Okay, she said it's in the basement. Got it. As soon as the party would have been over, I would have brought it upstairs before she even told me where it was. Listen, I'm saying 10 toes down, especially if it's just my first time being in this house, in this area, around here. Listen, I promise you, like,
has a soundproof recording booth for his job as a jingle maker for various brands. She ends up locking them inside the sound booth and holds them captive for the reasons of not wanting her to lose them as friends and in some ways her newfound popularity. The back half of the episode now plays out like a non-accident based version of Misery, which is a Stephen King story about a crazed fan holding captive a famous author. Through this,
Okay.
Nora and her chicken Maurice sit outside the sound booth annoying the iCarly trio, driving them to near insanity. From music to Mad Libs, she constantly keeps an upbeat spirit as they slowly get angry and more aggressively mad towards her. They can't call or text anyone to help because she stole their phones and even reached out to all their relatives pretending to be them, saying that they are fine. She also reached out to Webicon as Carly to say they were canceling their appearance, which is kind of scary that she knew how to do all this stuff, almost like maybe she's kidnapped someone famous before? Nah, I'm just looking too deep into things. For the entire weekend, they are trapped in this sound booth with getting one meal of Chinese food. And this is where Sam sharpens a duck bone and picks the lock after diverting Nora back upstairs for a moment. She picks the lock, but as they make a break for it, Nora comes back downstairs in a Richard Nixon mask while wielding an axe, scaring the gang back into the booth where she locks it once more. With no way out, Carly comes up with a plan to reach out to Gibby for help, without directly reaching out to him for help.
Listen, when she came down with the axe, right? This would be me. Like, I know Sam did it like 5 seconds before, like 5 seconds after she went upstairs. She had no telling when she was gonna come back down, just like that. That was impossible. I still don't know how. I don't know how Nora did that in like 2 seconds, but whatever. This would be me, right? I would do it like I would be trying to pick the lock right when she's like turning her back or something like that, or right when she goes upstairs. I pick a lock, right? Boom. But I'm gonna leave the door closed. So when she thinks that it's locked, I'm gonna have the element of surprise. As soon as you turn your back or do anything like that, I'm rushing you. I'm shoulder check and I'm doing any possible thing to make it seem like I'm still locked in that sound booth. And then I'm gonna get my items. I'm gonna get my suitcase, my items. I'm gonna sprint for the door. You ain't gonna see me, or I'm gonna just keep kicking you until you're unconscious or something like that. I'm telling you, bro. I will have this all planned out when I'm in that studio, I swear.
Help. This way, she can evade Nora's suspicions of them doing any kind of obvious activity that would result in them reaching out to someone. She asks if she can send Gibby a birthday video message, and within that message, they leave another cryptic message that even Gibby could figure out, where every fourth word would be the real message about them being kidnapped by Nora. Gibby receives the message, and after figuring out everything and putting it together, hops on a train to Olympia with his younger brother Guppy and busts down Nora's front door. This causes them to get into a full-on WWE SmackDown match throughout the house and down the stairs to the basement. And while Gibby is taking down Nora, Guppy snatches the key and lets out the crew. Nora is knocked out and the police are called on her as the trio, Gibby and Guppy, head back home safe and sound. This also leads Nora down an even crazier path for a return in a two-parter episode, I Still Psycho, as well as the iCarly and Victoria spin-off, Sam and Cat, like we mentioned earlier. She really gets quite the major villain arc. And it looks like her arc may not be over, as in the new iCarly trailer for Paramount Plus, we can clearly see Nora is back. And based on the fact that Spencer tases himself, it means that he was probably just as shocked to see her as we all are. So only time will tell what her role is to play going forward. While a lot of this is played for laughter, the crew were still held captive for a whole weekend with minimal food and no contact to the outside world by a crazed, awkward fan with no social cues. Take out the laugh track and the whole vibe changes. It's not a bad episode though by any means. I think the way they built up Nora throughout the episode leading to her kidnapping them was done quite well. She starts off...
I'm telling you, if this wasn't a Nickelodeon show and they was doing this type of episode, you know, on a regular TV show, like, what is it, like ABC or something like that, like those are, like, you know, adult shows and you know, and those type of things, the amount of darkness in this episode would have been crazy. Like, just thinking about it in like a director type setting, like the shots, the angles, yo, this would have been crazy. Like, even the visual of Nora coming down with the axe and the mask, that would have been, yo, I could just imagine how terrifying that would have been for them to make them actually want to go back into the studio. Cause on the show, on the Nickelodeon show, how they did it, man, I'm still shoulder checking her. Like, you're not scaring me, Nora. Like, I know who you really are. I know, like, you just put on, like, I know who you are. The mask and the axe is not gonna scare me. That looked like a fake axe too, like a toy axe. That didn't even look real. Like, come on now.
Is just this awkward girl, but when the people she's obsessed with are nice...
Your parents abandoned you. Nobody showed up to your party. Then your clown burped and had an aneurysm. How could you have had a worse birthday?
Or sometimes nice to her and help her amass some semblance of popularity with her peers, creating this connection in her brain that in order to keep this taste of the life she's wanted, she must keep them around as friends even if it's against their will. There are definite darker correlations to real-life influencers dealing with a fan or a supposed fan going too far as the online space has grown into what it is now. So seeing it in today's light rather than watching it when it first came out shines a new perspective on that. Yeah, this isn't far off from similar stories that have happened since. And one more time, yes, this episode was played for comedy, it still has its silly, ridiculous moments and means no intentional harm by it. But like how I spoke about this show in relation to the rise of content creators in the online space in my previous iCarly video, this shows once again how tapped in the show was to said space and what it would become, whether you feel a certain way about how this episode portrays it or not. So yeah, that was a darker episode of iCarly, and watching it again now, knowing just how weird some people on the internet can get, definitely shifts the tone even further into the dark category than it may have originally intended. I mean, it's still played for comedy, of course, but there's just a little too much possible realism that keeps it from being just another sitcom episode. And like I said, I'll be covering the new iCarly revival later this month when it premieres on June 17th, so be on the lookout for that video discussing my thoughts on it. It's been really fun covering iCarly and rewatching the original show in preparation for the new show, so I hope you've enjoyed these videos as well. I truly appreciate the support you all have shown me, and I love hearing your thoughts on everything in the comments. Make sure to hit that like button for me. It truly helps out the video, and I thank you very much for it. Subscribe for more videos like this and much more as we journey up to 60,000 subscribers. I'll be back with another video later this week, but until then, later.
But yeah, that episode was dark for sure. I was wondering how that was gonna end, because I was like, how are they gonna get out of the situation if they can't call nobody, they can't text nobody? They was able to pick a lock thanks to Sam and her skills with lock picking, you know, over the years. That we never really got to experience other than that moment, up to that point. But yeah, it's like, wow. Unless they would have had the element of surprise, but like I said, that would be me. I'll make it seem like the door was locked the whole time, and then you turn your back or you do one stupid move. Boop, I'm knocking you upside your head when it's all over. When you least expect it too. But yeah, they couldn't really do anything. So I was like, how are they going to get out of the situation? Apparently, Nora finally let them make a video for some odd reason. And I didn't think Gibby would pick up on that. That's crazy. And in every fourth word, it would have been like a secret message of saying, of helping us, you know, like, help us, this crazy girl help us, you know. And but Nora was there, so they had to make it seem like they wasn't saying that, but like, you know. But thank God they figured it out and everything like that. So yeah. But yeah, her villain arc was crazy. Like the amount of time she came back, I wasn't even expecting her to come back after that episode, but it happened. And then she came back in Sam and Cat. It's like, what? Like, wow. And then seeing how she was interacting with the new characters on that show that she never even seen before was even more wilder. So yeah, that was crazy. Whew. But that was the end of the video, man. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you guys want to see next in the comments down below. Go to my Patreon where all my block reactions will be without the blur and without the copyright. Please turn on your post notifications so you can be notified every time I drop a new video. I greatly appreciate it. And with that being said, I'm out of here, you guys.